Hello, and yes, I am back here live, back from my palatial estate here in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada. And let's see if I have some viewers. Automatically, I see, oh, my overhead light. Maybe I should turn on, just in case. It was beautiful and sunny out here, but then all of a sudden, it just isn't quite as beautiful as it used to be. There, maybe a little more light will help. Hello, everyone. Hello, it is great to see you all. Fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me today. I see Linda's here already. Fabulous. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me today. My name is Michael Smith, the National Education Manager of Janome Canada. And yes, I am back live here from my palatial estate in Collingwood. I'm about 2 hours north of Toronto. Oh, yes, and my sister Deb is here. Hello, hello. Wonderful. I wonder if the rest of my family will join today as they did last week. It was so wonderful. Yes, thank you, everyone, for joining me today. So what are we going to talk about today? So, yes, if you were with me a few weeks ago, let me just double check, and for sure I'm live. I always like to, double check sound-wise. If you were with me a few weeks ago, there I am. Okay, there's always this delay, so that always concerns me. So yes, if you were with me, a few weeks ago, where I talked about twin needles, 2 parallel lines of stitching. One is in blue, one is in yellow, but yes, 2 parallel lines of stitching. And again, on the back side, that finishes our hem off very beautifully. There it is. Now, this is a knit fabric, and again, it's great because of that stretch with that little kind of lightning zigzag in between the 2 parallel rows of stitching. And then I went through all how to use a twin needle, and then look at some of the beautiful decorative stitches that we can do with our twin needle. So 2 parallel lines of stitching. And again, great for your hems as well. So when else can we use a twin needle? Well, Donna is here. Hello, hello. Oh, geez. I don't like when they move things. My screen looks different than it did. I don't like when they do that to me. So let's see, there we go. Okay, yes. Oh, yes, my messy sewing room here. Yes, once again, I'm on the fabulous Janome Skyline S7AE Anniversary Edition. And, let's see, Michelle says dual stitching needles. It scares me. So yes, a twin needle. Super simple, easy to use, especially with straight stitches. If you have a zigzag needle plate opening, you can use a twin needle. Now, many of our mid-level, high-level Janome machines come with a needle pack like this, and you'll see there is a twin needle in it. Now, this is I believe it's a 3mm twin needle, so you'll see that it is 1 shaft and 2 needles, and again, it's about 3mm apart. Now you'll see there's many other brands. This is Janome that comes with machines, or you can get this blister pack separately. Again, many other brands. There's again a 3mm wide. Now twin needles go up to, there's a 6mm wide, and you see the distance between the needles. I've even seen an 8mm wide twin needle. That's really huge. And again, it all depends on the width of your needle plate. But the nice thing is this little standard, 3mm wide needle that again comes with in a blister pack. If it does not come with your machine, it's available. Oh, yes, and my other sister Cindy is here. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. Then they come in a blister pack, and you can get the twin needles separately. You only need the 3mm wide, which I already have in my machine, threaded with the 2 strands of thread. Now, again, for a review of using a twin needle, you can go back to Janome Canada's YouTube channel, Janome America's YouTube channel, and review that presentation about threading up your machine with a twin needle. We just need the 3mm wide because we're going to use the pin tucking foot. There is a wide groove and a pin tucking foot narrow groove. Now you'll see mine are for 9mm machines, but there are pin tucking feet for 7mm machines and 5mm machines. Specifically, the narrow groove it's available for 5, 7, and 9mm. Wide groove, I believe it's only 7 and 9, but all machines will have a narrow groove. Again, so long as you have a zigzag needle plate opening, you can use these pin tucking feet. Now, there are full instructions in the back of the blister pack here, including part number. There's the part number for the narrow groove, for example, for 9mm. You can find all of these part numbers in our Janome accessory catalog. Double check with your Janome dealer which one is best for your machine. Yes, exactly. The M7 is a 9mm machine, so you too will use these. There's again a narrow groove and a wide groove pin tucking foot. And what they look like is the wide groove is the N1 foot. And there are all these grooves on the back side. You will see channels. They are 3mm wide. And on Janome Canada's YouTube, I did a series called A to Z with Janome, and I demoed these feet as part of that series that I demonstrated all the lettered presser feet from A to Z. So this is N1 is wide groove, and you'll see that channel there. And then this is N2 is narrow groove. These grooves are 2mm apart, and they're not quite as deep as the wide groove are. So you'll see with these little channels underneath, by using the twin needle, we will stitch parallel rows of stitching, and they get drawn up into those channels of the foot. These are our beautiful pin tucks. Now, perhaps, again, you typically don't see them in sort of big box stores, moderately priced fashion. You see these more in the designer stores. You'll see these techniques in like home decor with very fancy pillows or draperies, or again, for more designer wear, you'll see these pin tucks across like the yoke of a blouse, or maybe on the cuffs, or what around the hemline. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Or again, like as a cuff treatment, or because these twin needles, 2 parallel lines of stitching, and again on the back side there's this little zigzag stitch in between, they draw up the fabric into the groove of the foot. So because they draw up the fabric, first you would do all your pin tucking on your fabric, then you would cut it out. But this is a great alternative on a garment if you don't want to add darts for shaping, like a bust dart or across the yoke at the back of a blouse, or in the waistband. If you don't want to add darts, you can do rows of pin tucks, and that will draw in the fabric. Oh, yay. My sister says that my father is watching as well. Thank you. I'm so glad. That's wonderful. So you'll see how easy this is. And again, you can add that instant designer touch to make something very special, be it home decor, tote bags, maybe just even a pocket. This could be, plain piece of fabric. I haven't done anything to it, and I could embellish. This could be my pocket piece. And then after I do all my pin tucking, then I lay down my pattern piece and cut it out. So I have started already. And what I'm going to do, I'll just start it over here. So all we're going to do is do a regular line of stitching. But before I do my stitching, I'm going to adjust my machine, because many of our higher end machines, mid-range to high range, here like Skyline S7 is like a mid-range machine. We have this wonderful feature up here. It is the twin needle guard. So you'll see this on my LCD screen. I have a yellow needle that is highlighted, which means I'm just on single regular straight stitch here. But then when I touch this icon, ooh, it changes. Do you see? I've got the twin needle icon, and there are my 2 parallel rows of stitching on the LCD screen. So by using this twin needle guard, you don't have to use it with the twin needle, but it really helps because, oh, look, some of my stitches have already grayed out. All of my fonts, all my decorative stitches have all grayed out. I can only do certain stitches. All these applique stitches, gone. I can't use them. I can't make a mistake. So that's the wonderful thing of having this twin needle guard. It's just to prevent you from selecting a stitch that's not compatible with a twin needle. Now, if we don't have that stitch or we don't have that function, that's perfectly fine. We're just going to do regular straight stitch. So this is where when Michelle said, oh, using a twin needle is scary. So long as it's a straight stitch, no problem. We're going to use, again, that 3mm wide twin needle with these feet, with these presser feet, so we don't have to worry about the swing of the needle being too wide for the needle plate. That's fine. Now, since I do have this twin needle guard, I will activate it. But again, if we don't have that, that's perfectly okay. What we do want to do for all of our machines, however you need to do it, I go into my adjust key here. What we are going to do, according to the back of the blister pack, is adjust our needle tension. We're going to increase it. So you see right now my auto needle tension is set to 3.8. The blister pack advises that we turn up the needle tension between 5 and 7. So I'm going to experiment and just do it at 6. Ooh, I'll do it 6. Now maybe your machine has a dial to turn. However you adjust your upper thread tension, that you increase it between 5 and 7. So I made the line number 6 and I just closed that. I'd also personally like to, since I'm doing this as a top stitching to decorate my fabric, I'm going to lengthen my stitch to a 3.0 just to make it a little bit more prominent. And since we're doing decorative stitches now, oh, yes, we could add like maybe some beautiful, multicolor thread. This is Madeira's multicolor, or again, this is some iris of the embroidery thread, but this is where I use the embroidery thread as decorative thread because of that luster. It just looks so beautiful. So double check with your Janome dealer what threads they may have to make your projects extra special. So again, I'm just doing a row of straight stitching to get started. Now, maybe this row, you may mark your fabric to stitch in a straight line, but you don't have to mark the fabric. Maybe just a crease mark if you want to straight line. So normally when we get to the end of our fabric here, we would use our automatic scissor button, which is totally fine to use, but personally, and especially if these twin needles, or if this pin tucking foot, if you were doing these pin tucks within a garment, you weren't going all the way to the end of the seam, I would raise my foot, raise my needle, and pull, so I get these long thread tails. Then we can use the convenient side thread holder, side thread cutter at the side of our machine there to hold up our threads. That makes it nice and neat. Look at that. That makes it all nice and neat when I start my sewing by holding the threads in that thread holder there. You don't get that funny little loop when you start your seam. So that's very beautiful. But again, if this was not at the end of the fabric, if this pin tuck was going to start somewhere or end somewhere in the fabric, I would want to leave these long thread tails and then pull them to the back side. I wouldn't want to back stitch. So I just got into the habit of leaving these long thread tails that I'm going to trim off later instead of using that thread cutter button. Have you sometimes had where you're at the end of your seam here and you use that thread cutter button and then you go to start your next seam and the needles come unthreaded because of the twist of the thread? So by not using that thread cutter button here, then I don't have to worry about my twin needles coming unthreaded. They're not that much of a pain to thread, but still anything to avoid it. So now with these grooves here that I have in this pin tucking foot, I can choose any groove I want. Ooh, any groove I want. So in this case, I'm going to, with my previous pin tuck here, I'm just going to keep it in that last channel like that. And then away we go. So again, we don't have to mark the fabric. Now, maybe that first row of stitching, you would like to mark your fabric just to get your straight line, but all other lines, you're just following the groove of the pintuck foot to make it that much easier. So again, isn't that beautiful? Perfectly straight, even lines of stitching. Again, no little thread goobers on the back because my threads were held up here in that side thread holder. From front to back, it's a holder. From back to front, it's a cutter. So it just makes it nice and neat. And then again, two perfectly parallel lines of stitching. Now here you'll see where I did all my previous pintucks, we just choose whatever groove. So instead of this far groove, now maybe I want to do these pintucks really close together. Now you think of, oh, the church robes, the graduation gowns, they often had pintucking as well. It's a great way to add some shape, some dimension to a garment. And again, just because of the price point, you don't really see them in commercial ready to wear because it's just too expensive of a detail. So this is where you can add that professional designer touch to your sewing. So see, just by using the grooves of the foot, there was the outer groove, and this groove was two grooves from that previous line of stitching. So you decide the spacing, and you can use, you know, the grooves way over here if you want as well. Doesn't have to just be to the right side of the foot or the left side of the foot. We can use the right side. So there, a groove down this side. So simple, so easy to do. It's just a straight stitch, but in this case, I did lengthen it to, again, 3.0 is my personal preference. It just shows off a little nicer, and especially with this decorative thread. Now, I could be using white thread, so it completely blends in, but again, beautiful, perfect lines of stitching. Now, when we press, we need to press this a little bit just to keep it nice and flat. I love using a terry towel, and you put the pin tucks down in the terry towel and gently, we don't need to mash this down, but we just gently touch the iron over the fabric. But by having the terry towel down here, it helps kind of absorb the pin tuck, because again, now they are dimensional. Do you see they stand up because we tightened the needle tension, so that tightens the threads, so they pull a little more there, they're a little more predominant, and because of those pintuck feet, then using the twin needles, it draws that fabric into that pintuck, into the foot. So because these are dimensional, we can press them again with the terry towel there, so that makes it really nice. So that is our, and again, the wide groove is exactly the same. For the sake of time, I won't demo it, but again, exactly the same. We just have more space. These are 3 millimeters apart, whereas these are 2 millimeters. But again, that we can go further, and the pintucks are actually bigger. So that is our regular pintuck. And then, oh, look, even in sheer, I did it purposely so you could see it, but this would make a beautiful, delicate treatment in, if you want like an over blouse that is all this beautiful like organza or georgette, or let's say a hostess apron that's not really usable but very beautiful. You could embellish it all with these rows and rows of your pintucks. So you just experiment and do your little scraps of fabric like that. Now, something, generally some lighter weight fabric. Again, this is like a cotton batiste. And again, with our lighter weight fabrics, our chiffons, organdy, if you get into, this is a sturdy, more like home deck cotton fabric, you'll see my twin needles here. They're quite flat. They're still beautiful. I followed this line in the stripe of the fabric. So isn't that cool? Very cool to do. So yes, that these are more flat though, because this fabric is quite a stiff fabric. It's more like almost like a twill weave. It is a twill weave. So yes, it's a little more sturdy. So in order to get the dimension, oh, look, like this twin needle, this pin tuck definitely has some dimension. And where that comes from is, you'll see at the end, I have a cord in between, it's caught in between that little zigzag at the back. So this is a corded pin tuck, and this is great for, again, those thicker fabrics, and they don't want to draw up as much into the foot. So I'll demo this with the wide groove, but there is a cord guide for wide and narrow. And again, you double check our accessory catalog, and you double check with your Janome dealer to make sure you get the correct presser feet and the correct guides for your machine. So these threads, I will just pull to the back. There we go. Pull them all out from under. I don't want them to get caught. But these cord guides, they come in a blister pack like this. Now, this is for easy set, and what we call the easy set. Now, there's different cord guides, so make sure you get the correct one for your machine. But what we call easy set is if you have this little thread cutter here to the side of the bobbin cover. So if I remove the bobbin cover, and then these are the cord guides. Do you see how they replace the bobbin cover? Now, this one says A, and it has this little guide here. It is for cords that's, oh, I think it's 1.5 millimeters or less. So this A guide you would use with your narrow pin tucking foot, as described in the blister pack. Here is the part number. Oh, there we go. The part number for the cord guides for the easy set model. And again, full instructions here in the blister pack. And then this is cord guide. There is a B there, but I've just made it easier for myself, and I've taped this little W to the guide itself. And this guide is bigger. I think it is, oh, what is it? 1.5 to 2 millimeters, as indicated on the back of the blister pack. So yes, this cord guide B we can use with the wide groove foot because we can use thicker cords. So again, this replaces my bobbin cover for my easy set model. There are cord guides that fit other models of machines. So this is where you check with your Janome dealer. And now this is where we can use, oh yes, we can use some, this is that baby fine yarn, really delicate, you know, baby clothes, really fine and soft. This would be great for either the wide or the narrow groove foot. So we could use that yarn if you're a knitter or crocheter, like my sister. She probably has lots of yarn left over. Well, maybe she could get a pin tucking foot and pin tucking guide for her machine and use up all those scraps of yarn. And then this is more of that regular, like cotton cording. You use this to tie up your turkey at Christmas and Thanksgiving. I get this from the discount store or the hardware store. It's a fraction of the price than it is at the craft store. So, but it works beautifully good. I use this for narrow piping as well. And you see that cord, it just clips in to that guide, and it just goes perfectly aligned just like that. So super simple, easy to use. There are many blogs on Janome Life about using these cord guides, videos that I've done on Janome Canada YouTube, Janome America YouTube. And again, your cording, make sure that it's longer. Whoops, make sure that it is longer so you can pull it out at the back to help get it started. So let's do that again. So there we go. So I pulled it more. So now I will use this sample again, because again, this is thicker fabric, more like home deck fabric, that this could be a pillow or again, curtains or even around a tablecloth. And this way it is more, there we go, that it's more, there we go. I just wanted to line it up, that it is more solid, more sturdy. So by using this cord, then this means And there, just help get it started. Perfect. Now I can feel as well with my finger, and I'm just visually kind of lining up this cord underneath with my stripe, but I can feel with my finger here before it gets to the needle that yes, my cord, because the cord guide is right here where my finger is, so it's right before the needle. I keep my finger back here a little bit just to help, especially if I got a long seam, just to help it a little more, to keep it nice and even, and it goes right through. This works so well. There we go. And then this, I'm just gonna, ooh, and I'm caught. Trim my cord. Oh, and I'm caught somewhere. Oh, yes. Okay, there we go. There, that's better. So, boom, boom, there we go. So there, I just got a little caught of all these extra long threads. But isn't that beautiful? And you'll see, maybe you can see the dimension. I can certainly feel the dimension, but it looks so good. So with this sturdier fabric, again, perfect time to use that cord. And you see there, the cord is covered completely. It looks so good. It is covered completely. It looks so good. And so, yes, this is how we can use the sturdier fabric with the guides. And they work out like super, super well. This is, again, some of that baby fine yarn. And again, just clips in. So this is where I would take these cord guides. You purchase the cord guides first. They come in the blister pack, again, from A and B for your narrow groove and your wide groove. The A is for narrow groove. You take these to the craft store and you make sure, oh, yes, does that fit? Yes, no problem. In fact, this baby fine hair, oh, maybe this is a little too small for that B wide groove guide. Oh, but it's going to work perfectly. Look at this, that up to 1.5 millimeters for the narrow groove guide. That works perfectly. So take these to the craft store with you just to make sure. So when you do your little experiments here, nothing fancy, but just to remind yourself, there are some narrow, again, narrow groove foot. You just make a couple of rows here. I crossed it. Isn't that cool when you cross the direction? And you just write narrow. This is a corded. You see that dimension. You can feel the dimension totally, but see that dimension, a corded pintuck. These are the wide groove pintucks. You just make yourself a little swatch like this. Again, you'll see the back of my corded foot there. Everything is concealed beautifully. The cool thing about the cording, that you know, if this is a garment and you don't have to worry about it being pressed flat at the dry cleaner. So that's the great thing about cording them. But you make yourself this little sample. And do you remember a few, oh gosh, maybe a month or so ago, I had this binder as an example of what to do with your presser feet. And this is where, again, it's a binder. You see, I have all of my specialty feet, like the beading feet, for example. There is the back of the cardboard with all the information. There's a little fabric sample. It's all listed here with the, you know, beading foot, for example. So with these page protectors, then you make yourself this binder. Here's a page protector. I'll put in my little sample of my cording guides, my corded pintucks, my narrow and wide groove pintucks. I'll put my little sample in there, and I can save the cardboard or photocopy the cardboard and then throw away the plastic. But I keep all the information, which is the most important thing, at the back. So that makes it really easy to do. And I just wanted to show very quickly, because when I mentioned the A to Z with Janome series, that yes, way back, you can go back, 5 years ago is when I started that, the start of COVID, and I did this whole A to Z with Janome series. So I did the A for the applicate foot, for example, and then OC was the circular sewing attachment. And I made this whole big sampler And I went through, oh, there's the beading feet, for example, wide and narrow groove. And then I did the pin tucking feet way over here, narrow and wide groove, pin tucking feet. And you see the different yarns that I had used. Oh, hopefully I'm not casting too much of a shadow. You had seen the various yarns that I had used there to do the corded pin tucks. So it was really, really fun to do this whole sampler of, there's some overcasting feet, the M foot. And then I did Janome's awesome accessory countdown with, oh, the ribbon sewing guide that I just demoed last week, for example. And then even we have some serger beading foot, for example. So I did all of these. Oh, and that ruffler attachment I just demoed not long ago. So again, that it's really nice to make yourself these little samplers. Again, put them in your page protectors, or one of these days I'll actually quilt this quilt, and that's the gorgeous Tamara Kate fabric, proudly Canadian. Yes, that it's fun to make these little samplers. So then that way, again, you see what all of your specialty presser feet do. And how do you find them all? Well, you go to janome.ca or janome.com, and you go to the accessories tab, and then you can click pin tucking feet. And then it takes a little bit to think because we have so much more information on our website now. Oh, and then, oh, there it's got our workbook. So I think if I just say pin tuck as opposed to pin tucking, sometimes they call them pin tucking, sometimes it's just pin tuck. Or how about I just say pin tuck? There we go, instead of feet. But our presser foot workbook, for example, came up. There it is. So you just type in pin tuck. And there comes the pin tucking feet. And then there are the part numbers, depending on what machines you have, a 5mm, 7mm, 9mm. There are the part numbers. And then again, there you see a nice up-close version. That's the narrow groove, and that, or that's the wide groove, and this is the narrow groove, the N1. So that is on janome.ca or janome.com. And then, yes, let's not forget about our Janome Life blog. Today's post was on the pin tucking feet, as I'm demoing right now. Again, some pictures and some very handy links, for example. And I click on that link, and oh, there I am, the page that I just showed that's on our website. So do, on the morning of my lives, that you can click on the Janome Life post, and it will have lots of useful pictures and the links that will take you to, like, Janome Canada YouTube channel. And oh, look, there I am talking about twin needle sewing, for example. So again, make sure that you click on those Janome Life posts. And one last thing, again, I always have so much information that you can use the search box. Let me get my mouse over here. You can use the search box on the right here on my computer, and I could type in, pin tucking, for example, and then all the related posts. So whatever you prefer, whatever subject you'd like, whatever machine you'd like, you just type in the search box, and all the related posts here. Do you know you could even do pin tucks on your serger? For example, our Janome Canada educator Tara has been doing posts all about presser feet for your serger, your HD9. There's so much we can do on our machines, regardless of which one that you have. So let me flip around. As always, the time flew by. There we go. So thank you everyone so much for joining me today. It is fabulous to see you all. Oh, this last Wednesday in August. Can you believe it? So I will see you all next month in September for National Sewing Month. And what will I be doing then? Well, maybe it's a surprise. You'll have to read the Janome Life blog next Wednesday as a little sneak peek of what I'll be talking about. But as always, well, anything to share the Janome love. So thank you everyone so much for joining me today, and have a fabulous day. Bye.